Hey guys, I know it's been a long time coming, but I'm finally making a video on how to put on and take off a wig properly. No matter how long you've been working here, no matter how long you've been wearing wigs, I encourage everybody to watch this video because moving forward, I am going to be able to tell who did and did not watch it simply based on how you're wearing the wigs. Now, some of you guys might already be doing some of the things that I'm going to describe in this video, but some of you might never have even thought about doing some of these things or haven't worn wigs for very long, like some of the new people. So I really want to take this time to explain how each of the wigs works, the best ways to put it on, how to make them fit your head properly, how to put on a wig cap, you know, all that kind of stuff. So please, I'm gonna try not to make it too long. Knowing myself, I'm probably gonna talk a long time, but please bear with me and watch this video just because a lot of the wigs have been getting damaged recently and I really, really wanna stop that. So the first step obviously is going to be to put on a wig cap. So there are a few things that people sometimes do to put on wig caps. So some people do pin curls, which is where you take the hair and literally twist it around and put it on top of the head and then you pin it down. So that's a way that you can do it so that the wig really grips onto something, since you have to bobby pin them. So there'll be bobby pins all over your head. However, that does take a very long time. So if you don't want to do that every time, you definitely don't have to. I have a lot of hair, probably more than most people who work here. So I'm just going to show you what I do, and it's super, super simple. So first, obviously, take your wig cap, put it on over your head. I put it on with my hair just down like this. So you want to put it past your forehead so that it doesn't slip off while you're doing this. So then I take all the hair, tuck it behind my ear, and then on the back, I twist it around just in a little bun. I don't really make it tight or anything. I just kind of get it all so that it's all in one hand, and I just tuck it under. And so then I eventually go back and I put the wig cap over my ears on the side and tuck in any of these bubbles that might be sticking out. And you want to pull this back to your hairline. You don't want to put it back behind your hairline because sometimes it'll pull on your hair. It'll give a headache. So you do want it to be like on your skin itself. And then sometimes in the back, if you're wearing an updo like Cinderella that's going to show back here, you want to just kind of push the hair around so that it's as flat as possible. But if you're wearing a wig that's down, you know, like Ariel or Belle, you don't really have to do that. Having a little bump in the back is not going to be a big deal. So like I said, ears tucked in. I try to tuck this all back as much as possible, but the wig cap's on. So there's also the wig cap that have the holes in the top. So that one, you simply put it on like a headband. So you put it all the way through, pull all your hair out, put it on like a headband, and then you pull it back and you stuff all of your hair into that hole. And then you pull it forward and you can either bobby pin that hole, that gap, fold it over. You can either bobby pin it here, but that can give you a headache. So you can just tuck it up under there. I know some people prefer one way or the other, one wig cap over the other. I prefer these because it distributes the pressure more evenly, where the other one, it's a lot tighter of a band. It could give you a headache. Now, another thing that I have added to the studio that some of you may never even heard before are wig grips. So the wig grip just looks like a headband and it goes around like this, and it's just kind of like a microfiber cloth and it Velcros onto your head. So if you find that any wigs are falling back on your head or they're too heavy, sometimes the Belle with the bun falls back, sometimes some updos fall back because of all the hair back here, just put on a wig grip after your wig cap. So it goes on over, and then you put the wig on top of it. So you guys will see those once you come back to the studio. You can start trying them out, see if they work. I bought a bunch of them, so you should have enough. Now, don't wear those every time you wear a wig because I do hear that they do cause headaches. You only want to wear a wig grip if you have been noticing that one particular wig is too big on you or it's falling back on you at parties and showing your hairline. So I'm going to show you guys how to put on a long-haired wig and also an updo because they are a little different. So the first thing you're going to notice is on the wig shelf, there's going to be a wig shelf with all of the wigs, and there's going to be a picture of what the wig should look like on. So it'll show you what side the bangs are supposed to be parted on, where the buns should be, you know, all that kind of stuff, just to look at it and have a visual of what it should look like once it's on your head. So every wig should have two pins right here and right here. They're kind of in the like antenna spots. That's how it's been described to me, so that's how I'm going to describe it. This is always the only place that you should be putting the pins. Do not put it anywhere near the front, especially if it's a skin cap or there's a part, because these can create little holes in the wig that makes it look like it's not actually skin. So you always want to put it farther back on the head, right here and right here. That's all you need. You don't need anything else. So what you're going to do is you're going to remove the pins, obviously, and you always want to have a hand on the wig so that it doesn't fall off of the wig head once you take the pins off. You want to put the pins on the face. If you put it on the neck, sometimes it goes through and it'll go through the hole and you might poke yourself. And you also don't want to take the wig off and then put it in the head, because if you go to put the wig back on and you forget to take the pins out, it might ruin the style. You don't want to put it up by the eyes. You want to put it around the nose, mouth, cheek region, just so that they're the most out of the way. You won't hurt yourself and you also won't ruin the wig. So for updos, what I like to do is I like to put a hand on the back of the wig. This is if you don't have a station like this to work with. I like to put my hand on the back of the wig and then pull the head off. Now again, you can do the same thing if you have a station. If you want to use the bed in my room, or if you have a desktop that you're working with, you can just put it on the desk and then pull the wig head off. Then you want to put that wig head to the side. Put it back on the shelf where it belongs so that it's not roaming around the room. People don't step on it. These are very easily breakable because they are just styrofoam, so please be careful with these as well. Put that off to the side. So now you have your wig. So it's either going to be sitting on the desk or you're going to be holding it like this. So the next thing that you want to do is there are these little bands inside the wig, if you can see those. So these get tucked in to these little holes right here. So to start off, you want them to both be all the way in the middle before you find out what kind of size head you have. So I'll show you what that looks like. So they both get strapped down in the middle. They get hooked in like that. So you want to test that first. If you put it on and you find out it's too tight, you can always take it off and readjust, or you can get somebody else to lift up that band in the back and adjust it for you. So what you want to do is you want your fingers to go on the very inside of the cap right near the front. And you want to avoid squeezing the bangs. So for example, these bangs go far enough back that I could put my thumb behind them. So you want to do that. Flip it around. So now your fingers are simply on the inside. Place it down on your forehead. Place it far enough down on your forehead that when you start pulling back, it doesn't slip. So this is obviously way too far down, but you want to leave it that way. And then you work around until you get to the bottom. Tuck that section of hair right on in there. And again, it's still too far down. So then you want to pull it back. So the way you want to adjust your wigs, on the very side of the wigs, there are these tabs. You can't really see it with the wig styled, but there's a corner on each side. So you want to feel where those corners are, and those are supposed to be your sideburns. So feel for that corner, and if you lift it up, it should loosen up your forehead so you can move it back and forth. So you want to make sure that those sideburns are even on both sides of your head, and that's going to help the wig part in the right direction. I have seen so many of you put wigs on and it's so lopsided. Anna will have a middle part, Belle's gonna have a side part. I see lots of you guys mess that up. So please, please, please remember the two tabs on the side, which are supposed to be your sideburns. Make sure you push them in and you feel on both sides of your head that they are even. So another thing about putting your wig on is you want your wig to be farther down than your hairline. So my hairline is all the way back here, but I'm putting my wig down here. There's a couple of reasons you want to do this. The first one, for some reason, it just looks more natural when you pull the wig farther down. Sometimes it looks like people are balding if they put it even at their natural hairline. The other reason is there's more space for it to fall back without showing your hairline, just in case, you know, a kid does pull on something and it moves back a little bit. There's a little bit of room for it to move without showing your natural hair underneath. So then the last thing that you want to do is make sure that the part is in the right place. So for Anna, I would look at the picture on the wig shelf and I would say, okay, her bangs are parted here. So you want to find a natural part and part them. Now most wigs should be parted already. This wig is very different where it does have that circle. So most wigs you will not need to part them on yourself by yourself. Just make sure you look at that picture and then look at yourself in the mirror and say, yes, this is what it looks like in the picture. So I'm all set. So this wig would be all set to go. You're all great. If you need to, you can put some pins up here so that they don't fall out. You want to put the pins facing this way. You can put pins on the sideburns if for some reason your hair is showing. You want to put the pin a little bit farther back on the sideburn so you don't see it right there. Then you also want to make sure that your wig cap is all the way tucked in the back so that when you look from the sides, you can't see it. And that's something that you only have to do with updos. With the wigs that are really far down, you never really see that in the back. So then you want to make sure, you know, you can ask your character assistant or you can ask somebody else there, hey, can you see any of my hair anywhere? If not, then you're all good to go. So now we're gonna do taking off the wig. So it's almost the exact same, just in reverse. So first, you're gonna put your thumbs underneath and you're just gonna work your way around, lift it up, twirl around, and again, you can grab it the back or you can place it on the bed. Now, one thing that I always do that I know a lot of people don't do, but I would very highly suggest this, I would like you guys to do this. So you wanna undo these pins because sometimes it's hard to put the wig head on when those pins are in there. Bring your wig head to the wig. Don't bring the wig to the wig head. Sometimes when you bring the wig to the wig head, that's when I've seen people drop the wigs because they don't get the pins in fast enough. That's when on the wig head, it's sitting so far off that sometimes it messes up the actual style. So you wanna take the wig head, put it in the wig, and you can line up the top of the cap with the forehead of the wig head. Take the pins off and pin them in there while it's sitting. Again, in that antenna spot. So when you pick it up, it is going to be a little loose. Don't be afraid if it moves around like that. As long as you have those two pins on the top in there, it is going to stay. And then it's all back. And do you see how nice it looks? It's not all lopsided on the wig head or anything like that. Now, another thing that you can do to secure it even more, if you are traveling with the wig, if you're changing at a party, you can take the two bands that you clip in the back and you can bring them under the chin of the wig head and you can clip them together. So now it's even more extra secured, it's not moving around on there, and you're all set. So there is the short-haired wigs. There's not much difference in the long-haired wigs, but I wanna show you what these nets look like if you ever grab a wig and there's a net on it. So Belle, I like to keep Belle netted as much as I can. If you do not need to put the net on after each party, I know that it could be very difficult. So if you ever encounter a wig that looks like this, which it might after I have been home and put everything back nicely, there's gonna be one pin in the neck down here. So be careful putting your fingers in just in case that pin has gone through. But you just lift that pin up. Sometimes it gets stuck in the T-pins, so just work the net around it. If you do have to cut or rip the net a little bit, that is fine, as long as you get that pin out. Put the pin in the face, just like the other ones. And the net will also be around the pins on the top. So you take the pins out of the top, just like the other wig. Make sure that you hold this wig down so it doesn't fall back. And then keep holding it down and you can take that net off. So the net might hang off of the wig while you're putting it on, and that's fine. You can just take it completely off once you put it on your head. So again, same thing as I did with Coronation Anna. Hold the back, take it off, or you can take it off by putting it on a desk and just letting it rest. But the same thing, notice I'm not squeezing the bangs. I've put my fingers far enough back that I am not. Or if you're doing something like Belle or Ariel where there is a part, you can put your finger on that part. Just never put your fingers on the bangs and push those down. So again, you bring it behind your head, put your fingers in front, place it far enough forward on your forehead, and you can place it on like that. Now, I didn't clip it because I know that you guys already know how to do that and I don't want to waste time showing you how to do that again. So then I'm going to slip the net off and now I'm all good. For this one, I don't have to check 100% to make sure that it's covered in the back, everything like that. I'm going to find those tabs on the side. I'm going to make sure they're even. And as soon as they're even, it makes the part go right in the middle of my head. So now we're going to take it off. Again, putting my thumb underneath, making sure that I'm not hurting the bangs, so I can grab it on the side so that I don't hurt the bangs. Pull it off my head, and a bobby pin has stuck to my head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back on. I'm going to feel for where that bobby pin is. A lot of these styles have bobby pins sticking out all over the place, so you want to make sure that you never rip it off. Okay, so I got that bobby pin, so I'm going to put it back I'm gonna grab the wig, take it off, again, place it on the desk, and then I'm gonna take the wig head and bring it to the wig. And now that it's in there, I'm gonna pin the top. I'm gonna lift it, and I'm all set. Now, one thing, again, you have to be careful about the pins. Sometimes when you bring it to the wig, you might not have the pins in at the right spot. So you can just reverse it and hold it just like when you take it off. Take the pins out and readjust. Now make sure, one thing that you wanna make sure that you do, especially with these T-pins, with where it looks like a T like that, you never wanna push it so far down that when someone goes to take it out, it disrupts the wig. So you always wanna make sure that when you're using T-pins, they kind of float above the wig. Because if you push it too far down, it's gonna be too hard to take it out. And that can be the same with the straight pins with the balls as well. These just aren't as disruptive, but you always wanna make sure there's a little bit of space so that you don't have to pull it out and disrupt the style. Now this can be true with any of them. And I guess this is a good learning moment too, because I just did this. So whenever there's a pin sticking out of one of the wig's face, you have to be careful. As you can see, this piece pulled this little piece of hair out. So you always want to be careful when there are pins on the face that you don't touch other wigs like that. But on the wig shelf that we're working with, all the wigs should just go straight back or straight off. So once you go into the studio with the wig shelf, you should see all of the wigs in a row. And there's a picture, like I said, there's a picture on there of what wig goes in which spot. And please, please, please put the wigs back in the correct spot. There are certain wigs that are going to be hanging off the edge on a stand, and that's because they are going to be curls like Belle that can't sit on a desk like this all day because it'll ruin the curl. So they're going to be hanging off the edge. So it's very important that you keep each wig exactly where I place it on the wig shelf. And there's another reason I do it this way. Some wigs are wider than others. Some have very, very tight styles, so they can fit into a smaller space, while some have crazy styles and they take up a lot of space. So I'm going to purposely leave enough space on each shelf for exactly the wigs that I want there. So always just make sure to follow the labels. So next week when I put the studio back together, I'm going to be making another video, just a tour of the studio so that everybody can see where everything is, as well as any updated rules that might come into place now that the studio is back and we haven't had it for over a year. So please keep a lookout for that. You can always refer back to this video when you're putting on a wig if you need to. Remember, the number one thing I can tell you guys is making sure that those tabs are even, because I have been seeing so many people with crooked wigs. So that's the number one thing to take from this video, as well as some gentle ways to put on and take off the wigs so that you guys don't mess up the styles any further. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me. I know this is almost 20 minutes, but hopefully it was worth your while. I am very excited to see you guys all next week. I hope you have a great weekend.